Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at an old 90s gaming magazine because I was reminiscing over the weekend and I have huge stacks of them here at my parents' house, and I figured it'd be nice to go back, see what some of the reviews were back in the day, see how they hold up today, and some of the weirdness that was video game magazines, considering they don't really exist anymore. There may be one or two out there. They're mostly advertisements, but back in the day, we're talking about magazines that were hundreds of pages long for like $5-6, and oftentimes you get a demo CD with them. They were good value. I don't know what kids do today, but back in the day when we went shopping with our parents, we would plop ourselves down in the magazine aisle and write down codes, tips, and tricks, and hopefully beg them to allow us to buy one. So this one is one of the ones I was picking up the other day. And we have it here in digital form to take a look at. This is GamePro magazine, the #1 video game magazine in the world. They were selling millions of copies at one point, making bank. They are absolutely gone at this point. But the cover feature for issue number 93 is War Gods, True 3D Fighting. Now, I remember War Gods being a big deal. Not a good game at all, but for some reason there was a whole lot of hype surrounding War Gods. It was from Midway, the same people that did Mortal Kombat, and it was their, I believe, first 3D outing. It was a big game on the N64. I remember people getting into fights trying to get a hold of this game. It was wild. So we got 22 reviews in this issue. Boy, that's a whole heck of a lot. So let's dive right in because this is going to be one of the longer ones. So we start off, as always, with a big 2-page spread ad. This one is for NBA Jam Extreme. Only in arcades. YME 517. I don't know if that's a code or something. I don't ever remember seeing NBA Jam Extreme. I remember seeing NBA Jam. And then Tournament Edition was huge at home. Oh, this is a 3D NBA Jam? It sure is. So did this get ported to the N64 as NBA Showtime, I believe? My cat's going crazy out there on Zoomies mode. I believe so. Maybe. It looks like Showtime. This cabinet. Does anyone remember if it looked like that? Because I don't at all. I don't remember seeing this. So another ad, of course. God gave Roger Clemens a 98-mile-an-hour heater. He gave Mike Piazza an effortless home run swing. He gave you, well, he gave you his unconditional love. This is for PlayStation game. What is this? MLB Pennant Race. Oh, there is a series I haven't heard from in forever. Did that get turned into something, or did they just stop that altogether? I don't remember. Wow, look at this. Is this what it looked like? Was it true 3D, or was it a 3D stadium with 2D characters, sprite-based characters, or 2.5D kind of thing? They made them look like Donkey Kong Country. Very weird. So we get an ad up here for War Gods up here on the left. GamePro Online, prepare for it. Look at this. Hitting the web, May 1996. GamePro.com, coming soon. Wow, advertising that they're coming soon to the internet. Here's all the staff and all that stuff. And we've got another ad here for an actual good game, X-Men Children of the Atom. A 100% direct conversion of the #1 arcade smash for the Sega Saturn. Was that the case? This is a real bad Psylocke. Was that the case? Was it completely 100% one-to-one conversion? Maybe so. I remember people saying it was pretty good. I don't know if there'll be a review in here at all. But maybe future issues will. Maybe with the megabyte expansion card for the Saturn. That's one I want to get my hands on for my Saturn and see. So we got another ad here for Blockbuster Video. A man here playing Super Nintendo. And the remnants of Blockbuster as of today burnt through this couch. Here are the contents for 1996. A couple of features. Looks like a PlayStation feature. E3 featured. Nice way to start since we're in the middle of summertime right now. SWAT Pro. That's their kind of tips, tricks, and features. And that got spun off into its own little magazine. What the hell is this? Is this the Hulk? What is that? Well, we're going to look at that. 16-bit Gamer Survival Guide. And War Gods. Alright, let's get moving. Contents. We got an ad for bottom of the 9th. Ooh. Okay, we got a huge 2-page ad for Mario RPG. Wow, this I haven't seen this art before. Look at Princess Peach over here. Bowser's got her. This is cool. 1996. Jumping down. Oh man, this is a fantastic game. One I still go back to, and I have on the Super Nintendo. This has gotten through the roof in price. I have this. I have Sunset Riders, which apparently is worth a lot of money as well. And I also had Chrono Trigger, and I sold Chrono Trigger. The only game I've ever sold that I regretted, but I had to make rent 1 month. So I sold Chrono Trigger back in the day. All right, so this is the feature section that everyone started off with. This is their mailbag where people mail in letters. And I don't know if they're real or not. Some of them are probably real, but that's the way things are. And here on the left, GamePro's game rating system. So this is one thing I did appreciate about GamePro. How good it was is up for debate. But at least they give you a definition of the rating system and what it means in terms of quality and stuff. And a lot of these you never actually saw. They really just kind of stuck around here. So that's their 1 to 5. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. You should be seeing a lot of these. But the Soft 7 system, of course, was always in play, so everything's kind of around here. So let's look at the mailbag. Games and Gear. In response to Josh Bryan's letter in your March 96 issue, I'm glad that software companies have palette swap characters. Doing this adds at least one more character to a game with memory left over for moves, and not all such characters have duplicate backgrounds. So they're talking about Mortal Kombat and their sneaky use of palette swap ninjas, which was used to save space and eventually just became pretty wild. So sometimes there's responses, sometimes there's not. According to Konami, that statement about the fulls, blah, 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 I think the Sega Nomad is a great idea. I think you're absolutely wrong on that, buddy. 16-bit carts, portable, 6-button controller. Wow, wow, wow. My only complaint is that 6 AA batteries last for only 3 hours. Is Sega working on a power supply? 3 hours? I wouldn't bet on it even back then. You have to remember this was the mid-90s, early 90s. And triple or AA battery technology is not what we have today with these long-lasting devices built for electronics. Back in the day, AA batteries were for your remote control, for your radio, and that's really basically it. Maybe for your answering machine if it needed one. That's about it. But they did get a reply. An AC adapter is already available for the Nomad. It costs $12.99. But then also kind of defeats the purpose. You get a Nomad power brick, which is a battery recharger, for $69. That would make that console so big, and it's already huge, and not worth it. So that's Canada calling. Why aren't there any CFL titles in the gaming world, especially since the CFL, Canadian Football League. Wow, okay. So, interesting. Okay, so down here, they had letters of the month for artwork, and you could send in your artwork, and they'd scan it and throw it up. A lot of time it'd be like this, which I actually miss. I think this is really cool, where they would put it on the envelope. Pick of the month here. Speaking about Chrono Trigger, got right here. Got a little Dragon Ball Z action going here, and we got a little. What is this? Can we zoom in? Can we zoom in? So we have. Looks like Mortal Kombat 3. That's Sindel. That's Stryker. That's Sub-Zero 2. And that's them holding hands. Oh, Jessica. Is she presiding over the wedding of Stryker and Sub-Zero? Is this your own fanfic that you sent into GamePro magazine? This is very strange. Maybe it's just a bad quality render. Oh, but okay, we'll leave that there. That is actually quite cool. Shang Tsung, young Shang Tsung, little guards. Let's back out of this and get back to normal, and let's go to the next page. Death is not, it's what they live for. Battle Arena Toshinden 2. Ooh, that series dropped off hard. The original was a big deal on the PlayStation. So this was 96. So yeah, I guess the PlayStation had just came out or is coming out right around this time. Buyers beware. Oh, Q&A section. They still had this right to the end. I downloaded a shareware version of Duke Nukem 3D. It was great. I have one complaint though. When I finished the 6th level, the final one, the game took me back to the 5th level. Is this their idea of a sick joke? No, it's just shareware, my guy. That's just, it ends. I heard that Killer Instinct 2 for the Nintendo 64 is going to cost $150. Is that true? That seems too high for an average gamer. Why would you buy a KI2 for $150? Nintendo doesn't think so. We spoke with the Nintendo reps. Said Killer Instinct 2 wouldn't cost $150. They wouldn't give us a firm price. $69, the regular price of a video game. I mean, they've always been about the same price. They've always been fairly expensive. Squaresoft seems to make their games only for Nintendo systems. Ooh, this is a rough question. Squaresoft seems to make games only for the Nintendo systems. Why hasn't it made games for PC CD-ROM? It has now. Mac CD-ROM, I don't know. Or PlayStation. Chrono Trigger for the PC would be so nice. Perhaps a Secret of Mana special edition for PSX. Their answer. Funny you should ask. Right now, Square of Japan is making Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation. It should hit American shores early next year. There was also rumors of Windows 95 version of Final Fantasy that may make it to market. Both those things were true. They went to PlayStation because, of course, the disc size, and they had room to play with in their FMVs. And Final Fantasy VII did come to PC. For a long time, that was the superior port with the updated graphics. I don't know if it came out on Windows 95. It came out much, much later, I think. Wow. Will Nintendo or Sega make an adapter between their old systems and their newer systems? An adapter, for example, will allow people to play NES, Game Boy, and SNES games on the upcoming Nintendo 64. Okay, that's an interesting question. Backward compatibility is kind of a normal-ish thing, at least now, especially in the digital age. Sega doesn't have any plans to make the Saturn backwards compatible. That doesn't... It's a disc-based system. How would it be backwards compatible with the Sega Genesis? The architecture of the Saturn's hardware doesn't allow us to make an adapter that would run Genesis games on the Saturn, although you did have a Genesis-type port for that memory expansion on the back. Port on the back of the Saturn is there... that's what I see. Supplement the CD player, like the backup RAM card. I get you. They asked Nintendo. The Nintendo 64 will not be backwards compatible for the SNES. So there's a big deal lately of backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series S, and whether the PlayStation 5 should have it. And that wasn't always the case back in the day. We rarely, if ever, I don't think ever officially at least had it. Mom's Rage pulls Primal Rage from shelves. Oh. If I want to purchase a game, it should be up to me. I'm an adult. That's absolutely right. So it looks like Mom's got the game pulled. Of Gilbert, Arizona launched her... It's always Arizona. What the heck is up with Arizona? I think the heat have gotten all to the moms' heads in Arizona because they're just nuts down there. They are a nutty bunch of people. New systems, new price cut. The Nintendo 64 officially announced the release in Japan on June 23rd. Get it the next year. Okay. News bits. Yeah, we got a sexy Sega Saturn ad. They were trying to use anything they could. This wouldn't fly today to get you to buy their games. Oh, here's GamePro Online. Okay, so what are you going to have on GamePro Online? Chat rooms? We have the live chat with other gamers. That, I bet you, was a disaster. Talks with GamePro Editor. Weekday afternoons at 4:30 in the chat room. That probably devolved into a nightmare. Message boards, okay. File vault. FAQs and the like. Okay, that's smart. Archives, current and back issues. If they were free, that'd be a huge boon. Guest conferences. Meet experts like that was just like a Reddit AMA. And hot news. And NetPro. Here's what's on the web. 51. Domar, Killer Instinct, just the websites for them. We're gonna add for Rayman. Ooh, what do we got over here? Let's zoom in. No. Let me adjust my screen. Saturn surfs the net. Sega goes online with an internet modem for the Saturn. As a high-powered PC As high-powered PC companies scramble to shrink personal computer hardware, Sega has already come online for that. Oh, so computers were still fairly expensive. If you had a console, you can use it sort of as a PC, at least in terms of email and web surfing. Not the worst idea, but not a great idea. They did that with the broadband server for SegaNet. For $150, your Saturn becomes internet capable. You still have to pay for the internet. Saturn modem slides onto the memory card slot. So that's, I mean, I don't know the service and how well it worked, but $150 plus online fees isn't the worst if a computer is going to cost you $1,000. And if you had a kid that wants a Sega Saturn, maybe as a parent or work from home and have internet access for email and the like, might not be the worst thing in the world. I doubt it worked well at all, though. So, Reader's Choice Awards. Oh, 1995. Best overall strategy game? Myst. Oh, is this the best overall game? Is Myst? Interesting. Chrono Trigger won RPG. Zoop won the best puzzle game. What the hell? I mean, none of those. What? Wait a second. Bust a Move. Oh, it's on a 3DO. No one had it or played it. Okay. And Wild Snake. I'd say Wild Snake is better than Zoop. It's a lot more. It's sillier, and Zoop is just that weird triangles and Zoop looks like the game made from those climbing brackets when you do indoor rock climbing. That's what Zoop is. Best overall system: PlayStation, Super NES, Saturn, Genesis. Look at the Saturn was, it did bad even to the Super Nintendo. Genesis, 3DO, Jaguar, Neo Geo. That's fine. Game Gear, Virtual Boy, Nomad, and the Game Boy. That's not fair for the Nomad. That should be just bundled in with the Genesis. Same thing. The best handheld game was Donkey Kong Land. I can respect that. Best arcade game, Ultimate Mortal Kombat. And Tekken 2. Ooh. Interesting. I would have gone Tekken 2 by this point, but that makes sense. Virtual Fighter 2. So the two 3D ones are starting to catch up. Best 16-bit racing game, Road Rash. Best fighting game, Killer Instinct. Next gen games, Virtual Fighter 2. Myst. Best corridor shooter. This is interesting because they still hadn't coined the term first-person shooter into the modern lexicon yet. That wouldn't really come around until about Quake time. So that's interesting. Best corridor shooter. Best sports game, Destruction Derby, NFL Game Day, and best next-gen system, PlayStation. Interesting. Oh, what is this? All the brutality, carnage, and senseless violence of Darkstalkers. Only darker. Night Warriors. Capcom. What? Isn't Night Warriors, isn't that Darkstalkers? Or Vampire? What is this? Just when you thought the Darkstalkers had reached their ultimate evil, they're back. I don't know. That's weird. Maybe that was the subtitle for part 2. I don't remember. Ooh, okay. Here we go. We got some E3 sneak peeks. Next for the Nintendo 64. Got the name change from the Ultra 64. This is the first time the N64 will be shown to the US gaming public in '96. Ahead of its September launch. So Robotech. Did that actually happen? I don't think that happened. It didn't come here. Shadows on the Empire. This was the talk of the playground in elementary school. Everyone was talking about this, even when the PlayStation was out. Living through this. Man, special editions were just coming back into theaters, I think, around this time. This opening level, I said all the flying levels were great, but this opening Hoth, still yet to be surpassed. That is great. The rest of it was kind of janky. And then we have Super Mario 64. World 96. So we're going to take a look at some arcade games that were coming out around the world. We got Virtual Fighter 3. From the moment you walked into the ACME Acme show, there was a buzz about Virtual Fighter 3, and it was warranted. Virtual Fighter 3 is the most amazing looking arcade game you've ever seen. This doesn't look too bad even today. I think Virtual Fighter 3 TB that was released was probably peak form. Available September. Since the game wasn't playable, we're left wondering whether it was play as good as it looks. Yeah, it was pretty good. Here's War God. Talked about that one. Real bad character design. Tokyo Wars. Okay, so this is an interesting game. I don't know if it kept the title Tokyo Wars. But this was a multiplayer tank-based game, and you sat down in like a seat, and you had two joysticks, kind of like the Virtual On sticks, and you could move around and battle your tank against the person on the other side or bots. I remember really liking this game in the arcade. Don't remember what it was called. Only the local arcade here had it. Didn't see it anywhere else, even at big arcades. And it was one of my favorites. Ace Driver Victory Lap, don't know. Dirt Dash. Got some sort of Hummer or something on its side. That's a really... Look how cropped that is. That's a really bad photo there. Looks like here we got a sports game. NBA Hang Time. Okay, there's Hang Time. Looks like Showtime. Looks like NBA Jam. At this time, the NBA Jam design team hopes to dominate the floor game with Hang Time. That's what they went on into. That was confusing for a while. Dunk Mania. Namco takes basketball to another league with this vivid, flat shaded characters and highly detailed game action. So this is a polygon-based game. I don't remember that at all. That's interesting. I wonder if that released here. I would assume it would be much better here than overseas. Alright, let's go over here. And what do we got? Hot at the arcades and overseas is Batman Forever. Now, Batman Forever, get too zoomed in here, is not a fighting game. It is a Final Fight type game clone with digitized actors. And I believe these were the actual suits. These aren't the character cast, of course, but this is the actual suits worn in the film and the props worn in the film for this. And here's Robin, because originally I believe Robin was supposed to be in the film, and so there's that Robin outfit. And it's a fighting game, a brawler, kind of like a Streets of Rage kind of thing. And it wasn't bad, but it was wild. When you hit someone, you had the 60s effect, like pow, bang, and zap, and all these things. It was just a visual disaster. Like, there was hundreds of things going on at once, and when you had two players, and it was a mess. Played this on MAME years later. Never actually saw it in the wild. What do we have here? NBA Jam. Here's NBA Jam Extreme. They're also working on NBA Hang Time, and it was just that license. They were doing too much. Seems like this is all they had their money on. Run and Gun 2. Here's another basketball. Konami. Once again with 5-on-5 b-ball. This overdue sequel features improved graphics, monster dunks, and realistic hand-drawn animations. The sprites look really big on there. Midnight Run, don't know that. Crypt Killer. Crypt Killer. Is that 3DO? Not the 3DO, but the Sega CD, that AVGN one they did, Crypt Killer, maybe. Metal Slug. Let's look at this. This full Metal Jack side-scroller puts you in a World War II battleground. Two players, simultaneous gameplay, find weapons, military vehicles to help them destroy everything in sight. Look how quaint and small little blurb Metal Slug got with how big the series would go on to. So you would play Die Hard, which is in the Nakatomi Plaza, or in the building. It's a running gun. Die Harder. You get the Die Hard with a Vengeance over here in the car racing, and Die Harder is the second film when you're at the airport and you're shooting your way through the airport. Interesting concept, but when you do one of those jack of all trades sorts of games, none of them quite come out great. Let's see what they said. Fun factor was good. Control. John has trouble running corners, especially here. Slowly shooting levels. Yeah, control slow. And the driving, you have a tough time controlling the cab. Yeah, fair. Everything was just kind of average. Skeleton Warriors. Is that a TV show? I don't know. What we got here? Williams Arcade. Williams, Bally's, Midway. They survived off this junk. This is coming out on the PlayStation. This stuff was coming out on the Super Nintendo. It would have come out on the NES, except that the NES was around when this stuff was still coming out. And it was on their own carts. So there was never a time where this was not out and available. And even to this day, they're releasing Atari packs and all this stuff. And it's absolutely insufferable. Because they're all the same. Do we really need another release? Do we need a PS5 release of Arcade's greatest hits at this point when they're all free browser-based games that you can find? Now with the power of 32 bits, Williams brings home flawless conversions of titles that speak for themselves. You needed the power of a PlayStation to do Defender and Joust? Come on. See them making enough clips, and what do they say? Adjusting the games like Defender and Robotron on control pad takes time. Yeah, because it wasn't built for that. You can't compare with this collection with modern games, and yet here we are doing it and giving it a 4.5. A 4.5. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that at all. Enter the Lair, Dragonheart. Did Dragonheart only release on Game Boy? Maybe. This was a weird Sean Connery as a dragon movie. I don't know. This was really huge for like a couple of months. And then it just went away. Dragonheart's weird. Funny enough, so I write for a living. And I work in Hollywood. Have done some work there. Dragonheart has like 7 movies. And I knew someone that worked on one of the later ones. I couldn't believe it. There was tons of these stupid films. Straight to DVD stuff. It blew my mind when I heard there was a bunch of them. Fucking Dragonheart. What a weird thing. Alright, let's go over here. Magic Carpet D. So PlayStation. Interesting. We have games that made their names outside of the PlayStation. So Magic Carpet, was it Blue Frog, or it wasn't Lionhead at the time, but it was Peter Molyneux's group. And this was essentially a tech demo to show off the power of the PC when it released. And this is 96 coming out on the PlayStation. I believe it came out in the early, maybe 93, 94. But it was a tech demo. And when you go in to see a new computer, they would often show it off playing Magic Carpet. Magic Carpet is a mythical feast with the flavor of the Middle East. The universe is in chaos. From your Magic Carpet, you must restore balance to 73-dimensional world. You see some of the old PlayStation games, even in this magazine we talked about, had like 9 worlds to explore. This had 70. There's the power of the PC. Although I'm sure most of them looked exactly the same. I just remember, yeah, you had like magic orbs you shot, and you can light things on fire, and I don't know. It was a tech demo that everyone had and enjoyed, but I don't think anyone actually played it like a video game. You know what I mean? Like no one went out of their way to play Magic Carpet. They experienced it and were like, oh, this is fun for a while, and then dropped it because they didn't know what to do. So let's see what they say. The morphing terrain and 3D landscapes are beautiful. The game scrolls smoothly while the enemy sprites are well drawn. They retain that pixelated PC type appearance. 4. Fun fact, you can't beat this game in a day or 3. Huge I mean, that's what I was talking about. I don't think anyone actually does beat it. It just morphs and changes, and you should, the story, if you ever get a chance to, is Peter Molyneux is known for bullshitting, and Magic Carpet was cool, but the stuff he talked about wanting to get into that game and like morphing from air to underwater, and underwater being its own world and ecosystem, and the air would be a game, and underwater would be a game, and it just... Guy was a nightmare. Here's D. Only thing I know about D is Laura. Laura. D. You are Laura Richter. Not a Belmont, but it does have to do with Dracula. Set inside a hospital turned haunted house to find your father, mass murder. Dr. Harris Richter. Nah, it wasn't his fault. He was possessed by the Dracul. Time. Final boss. The final boss will test your skills and patience. Continuously fire at the core, then fire the berserk the minute you see the life bar. Pollen debris. Pansy Dragoon? Pansy Dragoon? Wow. Wow, GamePro. Going in hard. That's wow. Control is a non-issue with the smooth shooting and adept handling possible by experienced programmers, but the game lacks challenge. Wow. Okay. Okay. We see you doing dirty to the Saturn. Alright, a couple more Saturn titles. Baku Baku Animals. $30. Okay, this one is weird. What is this thing? What is going on here? So this looks like a match 3 or something game. This one, there's no way this one released in the West. Does anyone remember this? Enough with the lunatic asylum elevator music. The graphics could have been funnier. A banker chewing up money? Question mark? What? Or harder edged? A shark eating human limbs? But the clean render graphics do the job well? Make it funnier or make it more hardcore? Jesus. There's two ends of the spectrum. Nothing to control, really. 5. Okay, I'm sure there's more, but just... you don't really control the game. 5.0 controls. Oh, for fuck's sake, GamePro. What do we have over here? Ooh, this is a weird rendering. This is our boy Worms. Worms is one of the best party games ever created. It's still popular to this day. You can play it on the PC and get like 10 of your friends together for friggin' crazy Worms actions. A humorous concept never really pays off in Worms. Are you insane, GamePro? Are you going to give me 2 shitty reviews back to back? Who did these? Scary Larry and Coach Kyle? I don't know, Coach. I know Scary Larry. Fun factor, 2.5. Mildly enjoyable at first. Worms soon wears out its welcome. The many backgrounds are pretty much redundant. I never warm up to these worms. Graphics, entertaining. Intro footage doesn't compensate for the tiny sprites and atom-sized shots. Hard to see, hard to read, hard to enjoy. Maybe it just wasn't good on the consoles, but this is a PC masterpiece. I want to compare this review going back now because I don't know if this holds up at all. That's a bad take there, Coach Kyle. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. All right, a couple more Sega Saturn weird ones. What do we got here? Battle Arena Shinden Remix. So this looks like Battle to Shinden 1, just beefed up. This remix didn't require much labor as only one hidden character. Oh, so they just unlocked a hidden character and they added a story mode. I guess the original Toshinden didn't have a story mode. Weird. I guess it was rushed for a PlayStation launch. Yeah, Toshinden was a big deal at first and then kind of went away. Congo? Congo got a video game? Congo, that terrible movie that came after the guy that wrote Jurassic Park wrote it, didn't he? Pretty sure he did. I guess that's a good... I haven't read the book, but boy, the movie was bad. Magic Crystal and super smart and crazy ape monkeys, and it destroyed Ernie Hudson's career as a leading man from the Ghostbusters. Ernie Hudson. A lot of people didn't know right after that he was considered kind of a leading man in Hollywood and had a couple of decent roles. You either remember him from his time as the Ghostbusters, or adults will remember him from Oz, not the Wizard of Oz, but prison show Oz on HBO, which is really good. And those in between will remember him as playing Pokemon cards professionally. Ernie Hudson's an interesting dude. Oh, Congo's a first-person shooter? What? I think Congo was released on Super Nintendo and was a side-scroller. Congo tries to cash in on the Doom-style game craze, but instead of blood-crazed demons, you're attacked by cartoony spiders, puppy dog lizards, and giant rubber monkey dolls. I don't know about you, but that sounds great. As Caballo, you must collect as many diamonds as you can in the jungle. Oh my god. So I have a Saturn with a couple of games. And I'm trying to make a list of weird Saturn releases. And I think Congo's got to go on that list, because what the hell is happening with Congo? Ugh, weird. Tell us your wildest nomad adventure and win. Well, GamePro, one time I was kidnapped, but I had my Nomad with me, so I survived for an hour until the batteries died before the serial killer murdered me and threw me in a ditch. Here's a photo of me being abducted. Thanks. What an idiot. Stupid. 3DO. Ooh, 3DO. Okay. I have a 3DO. Didn't have one then, but I have one now. Replay high. Captain Quasar. Okay, so someone explain this to me if they know. Captain Quasar. I remember back in the day in the early mid-90s, probably around this time, maybe a little before, you would go into Costco, and Costco would have right at the entrance their most expensive things, right? Like if you walk into Costco now, you're going to see stuff they're on sale over on the right, and on the left you're going to see probably giant TVs, massive TVs for like $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, super expensive ones. Back in the day, you would have computers there. You know, $1,000 computers, $2,000 computers, $3,000 computers, and each one would be lined up so you can kind of experience a little bit of it. And when we would go to Costco, I would, of course, stay at the computer area if it wasn't taken by someone. And each machine was always loaded with the same stuff. I don't know if it was like a Microsoft pack. I don't know if it was some other pack. But it always included Captain Quasar. I'm pretty sure it was Captain Quasar, or something super similar to this. Maybe he was like a military person. I can't remember. I think it was this. Ski Free and Yoda stories on every machine. And I remember going through all of those games at Costco, going crazy. Never had any of them, except, of course, Ski Free, because it came with one of the packs. Captain Quasar is fun and plenty tough. Huge areas, brutal enemies, and great humor make it worth every penny. Now, how about this game on a more popular system? Interesting to track that one down. Game Shark. Okay, 16-bit survival guide. Ooh, okay. Old tech here. Can you give me any hints for Gradius 3 on the SNES? It's one of the most durable side-scrolling shooters. What does that mean? Is one of the most durable. That's a bad way of describing a video game. Durable. Okay. It wasn't a gameplay breakthrough when it came out in 91, but it did approximate the great arcade shooters pretty well. It was slow as balls, if I remember right. The Super Nintendo was never really good at shooters. Game Watch. This month's best news, soon to be released games. Sonic is coming for Christmas. Expect a new Sonic the Hedgehog adventure for Genesis. Plus Saturn, nope. Game Gear, nope. Pico and PC, nope, nope, and nope. With a new female sidekick named Tiara and a new nemesis. Meanwhile, here's this month's... So none of this fucking happened. Who the hell's Tiara? And there was going to be no Dr. Eggman? Weird. What do we got here? Ken Griffey, good. Lobo, no. No, no, no. Actually, since we're here, this is Lobo. Pro reviews, 2.5. This is one of the lowest reviewed GamePro games in history. So Lobo, for those that don't know, is a DC Comics property. Very strange character, kind of a Wolverine-ish type thing. Just a badass, right? This kind of space prick, the last survivor of his race. Essentially, he's unkillable. He smokes. He breaks the fourth wall, kind of like Deadpool does now. He's Lobo. He got his own video game. He wasn't that popular. He didn't have a TV show. He didn't have a movie. His comics weren't #1. He's well-loved, well-liked, great art, but was never a top tier, still isn't a top tier DC character. The fact that he got a game isn't super weird. The fact that he got a fighting game is. Even Lobo fans would have no idea who the F all these characters are. And this was a late series release, sort of. As if we needed a reason to bury the Genesis. Along comes Lobo, one of the most god-awful fighting games since Time Killers. Unless you're a fan who has to own every single piece of Lobo merchandise available, steer clear of this game, and everyone did. You choose from 6 poorly illustrated warriors that fight with jerky, unpredictable special moves. Since Lobo is based on some of the best comic book art of the time, yes, that's true, this is a major disappointment. The sound isn't bad, but it gets lost in the dismal gameplay. The battles resound with smacks and groans aplenty, but no trademark Lobo wisecracks. This is a badly executed game. Doesn't deserve a place on the shelf with other games. Rent it, play it, return it. This one's a low blow. Don't put low blow with Lobo. Low blow. It's a martial arts master. So this game was done. It was sent out for review, which means it was at least 95% complete, maybe a few tweaks. It was essentially done. Done. It got reviewed so poorly. Look at this, like 3 paragraphs just ripping on this. One of the lowest scores, Sound 2.5, only there to just try to save a little bit of face. $60, 2 players, replay value low, available June. It reviewed so poorly that they didn't release it. They said, F it, the Genesis is dead. We're going to lose more money if we release it and have these cartridges sitting there and not get sold. So they absolutely canceled it. So no one actually played it. You can. I believe the source code was released, the ROM was released years ago. So you can actually probably get it put onto a Genesis cart and play it. If you're a Lobo head, I guess. But, that's bad. And from one bad game, we go to another bad game. Mohawk and headphone jack. Don't eat or drink anything for half an hour before you play this innovative game. Innovative is a nice word for saying, I don't know what the fuck is going on. You play as Mohawk, who has a headphone jack. I don't know what the F is going on. No one does. You're a yellow man with a green Mohawk. When you run, you turn into like Sonic the Hedgehog with the Segway wheels. But you can also jump on these planets or circles and go around them. And it's just absolutely headache-inducing is the best thing. Mohawk is a hip character who runs, leaps, flies, and swims through high-tech settings. The gimmick here is the fast-moving screen, which quickly rotates under Mohawk to create mind-numbing visuals. See? Headache-inducing. They're trying to be nice. The hard rock music adds to the hallucinogenic effect. Different? Yes. Fun? Absolutely not. If you want an example of this, go watch the Game Grumps episode of Mohawk and Headphone Jack. This game is an absolute nightmare. Nightmare. See how low? This is like just the page of low pro reviews. God. Marsupilami. Oh, I don't remember this one coming out. Oh, I like Marsupilami. It's a kid's game, but the stiff controls and quick timer make the puzzle solving tough. So, I guess all the Marsupilami games suck, but the one released last year on modern consoles and PC, we actually reviewed it, was actually pretty fantastic. It was one of the best side-scrollers of the past couple of years. It's a true 3D side-scroller, super fast, real fun action, a lot of fun. I think it's just Marsupilami has some sort of tag, but you can find it. Totally worth it. We got the digital copy for a review. Went out and bought a physical release because I liked it so much. A real blast. So this has come a long way. These two can just suck balls, but at least Marsupilami got some redemption. Ooh. Alright, so we got the sports pages. The shot hits the fan. Okay, very adult of you. NBA Shootout. NBA Live's dominance is a thing of the past with NBA Live 96 here, losing some face. NBA Shootout looks like, I don't remember that. PlayStation, NBA Live. Remember NBA Live? Look at that. Past these games all are $5 afterwards. Griffey's second at bat scores big on the ass. Ken Griffey Jr.'s winning run. I don't remember this. Though Griffey is the only real life player in the game, he swings for the fences. Yeah, this must be the second one. So, I had Ken Griffey Jr.'s home run or whatever it was, the first one on the SNES. Loved that. And then I had Ken Griffey Jr. on the Nintendo 64, and that one was a blast. Me and my buddy used to have sleepovers all the time, and we would stay up all night playing Ken Griffey Jr. or playing WCW versus NWO Revenge. All night long. There are videotapes of us somewhere in a box somewhere that we recorded ourselves playing these at sleepovers. And in between, we would make stop-motion animations of Godzilla with our Godzilla toys. We were the not coolest kids in the world. And there's videos of us doing WCW or NWO Revenge, playing it, and then doing the commentary team because that game had no commentary over it. Wild times. Slam and Jam 96. So that's a running series starring Magic and Kareem. Magic and Kareem. Kareem has been done for years at this point. Magic was already done. They're still playing on it. 96 was, it's the 96 Bulls. This was the height of Jordan. Really? Magic and Kareem hitting a game. Weird, on the PlayStation. I mean, Saturn of all things. I could see it on 16-bit maybe. Wow. We got here. Win this ultimate gaming rig. Okay. Hello, people. Let's see what we got. Over $20,000 in prizes. What do we got? Pandemonium Incorporated. We got this Hitachi something TV. What is this, like a 37-incher or something like that? Big old speakers here. All this needless sensors. This is so 90s. The only way it could be more 90s that this was all like a blue glow. Oh, hey kitty, coming in to say hi. Got this RCA box here. This looks like for satellite TV over here that you have to pay for. And what do we got in terms of equipment? We got a 3DO. All right, we got the one that always breaks down. We got a PlayStation. That's decent. Got a Virtual Boy. No, thank you. We got a Sega Saturn. That's okay. And we got a Jaguar over here. Yikes. And we have this. Can't see. What is that? Compact? That looks like compact with an Intel inside. That's a Panasonic 17-inch screen, it looks like. Does it say what it has in it? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Computer contest. Win a blazing fast computer with a Pentium 133 megahertz processor, 16 megabytes of RAM, a 1.2 gig hard drive, on a CD-ROM drive, and a 17-inch monitor, modem, and more. I have something kind of close like that in the garage setup. That's wild. Wow. It all includes a 33-inch monitor, so that's 33 inches. So I figured it was in the 30s. What did I say? 37? 33. So if anyone wants to clip this out, cut it out, and send it in. Oh, deadline by 1996. Maybe if you postmarked it before then, wrinkle it up, and maybe it got lost. I wonder if they'd take it. A couple of these had no dates on them, and you could still send in for stuff. Maybe we'll find one of those. Okay, MVP Baseball 96. These are coming up. E3 sneak peeks for sports games. MVP College Football, boring. Maybe Pennant Race, NBA Action. There was so many NBA games. They threw that license to literally any developer that wanted it. Wild. I guess we only have one now, right? What do we have now? 2K? I guess it's 2K something probably. Nutty. Role Players Realm. Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. That sounds like a sci-fi name. That's that Sega CD title, right? Lufia. Super Mario RPG. Now that's a fantastic game. Love that game. Sweet and Sour, Big Boo, Gobby, Hobgoblin, Pandorite, Rat, Funk Shadow. This was a great game. Officials Player's Guide. So here's something interesting. So I was never into Magic the Gathering. Had a friend try to teach me it. Didn't really like it. Thought it was kind of boring and weird. But I did have an almost entire set of these. I don't think any expansions came out. Star Wars Universe comes alive in a exciting new card game. Plays the Rebel Alliance and Battle of the Galactic Force in an epic duel of good versus evil. So you can play, you pick one deck and you play against the other. I don't think there was anything more than that. It was a really basic game. Secrets of the Card, exciting new cards, combinations, novice, intermediate. Yeah, this never went very far. Who made this? Did it say? Card game, The Art of Games, Associated, Lucasfilm, Decipher, I guess. Decipher Inc. So I didn't play this either. I just like the cards, and I like Star Wars. We were a time of Star Wars fanatics with no Star Wars products. We had a lot of Star Wars toys. I remember having Micro Machines. I had tons of Star Wars toys because we didn't have any media for Star Wars. There was no Star Wars TV shows like there is now. There were no Star Wars cartoons and stuff. It didn't exist. No TV products, Saturday morning stuff, no trilogies, no nothing. We had the VHS tapes, and we had our parents who told us about Star Wars. Like my mom telling us about standing in line around the block to go see Star Wars once, right? So Star Wars was already out of theaters, and the new trilogy, a prequel trilogy, wasn't even announced, hasn't been a thought yet at this time. So we had nothing, and so we ate up Star Wars stuff whenever it hit. Like once every couple of years, Star Wars would come back to theaters for a couple of weeks, maybe. It might be in like a summer matinee when they do like kids movies or something early in the mornings. You might be able to see an old screening of it. So man, anything Star Wars we snapped up. It's not like today where there's too fucking much Star Wars. There was stuff out there, but you had to hunt for it and you wanted it. Frog Alto Juice Bar. Talking about, oh, this is great. I could actually probably use this. I haven't beat this game yet. Got right to the end. GamePro contest winners. What is this monster doing? First prize winners, Tom Sachin from Naperville. Tom was flying high with his Virtual Boy. That's the color's so washed out you can't even tell it's a Virtual Boy. You're flying and you're gonna play a Virtual Boy? What a monster. Open your eyes and enjoy. What is this? Is this an ad? Iron Man XO Heavy Metal Video Game Data File by Edward Marcus. I think this is an ad because it's got this stuff down here. Advertisement. So this is Edward Marcus. This is a fake. Wow. This is some scummy stuff because I would have fallen for this as a kid. So it has this thing that it could put in any magazine. You got a name of someone that wrote it. You got kind of a data file that talks about the game. Look, and they even kind of use what the GamePro stuff does. What a jerk move. So this is XO Man of War and Iron Man Heavy Metal. This was a crossover game, kind of like Marvel vs. DC stuff or Capcom versus X-Men or whatever the heck it was. But this was Marvel versus Valiant. But they actually teamed up. I believe they got a comic series. Here's Baron Zemo and here's whoever the hell XO stuff. This was the time when Iron Man was not popular. And he looked like fucking this. He was weird. But this, look at this. They look like... I have this game. It doesn't play well. It's very chunky. That's how I would describe it. But they look like toys. It looks like... The game looks like someone animated toys. But you can see they mocap this. And if you watch the game, you can't... It's horrible. It's very weird. This is a disaster of a game. Disaster. Ooh, Resident Evil. PlayStation. Oh, so we got a walkthrough of Resident Evil. This is cool. Probably using art that we don't see. Digging through these old magazines oftentimes shows you art and stuff that may have never been actually attributed to the games. We got Chris here. There's Chris. Looks like he's smoking something. Still has a neck. This Chris over here looks totally different. Got Barry. Got Rebecca, my favorite. I'm way too young, 18, to be part of that unit. Got Wesker. And we got Jill with the gigantic shoulder pads. Wow. I love this old stuff. So you can see how it's cut off. So they didn't have assets. They actually had to take photos of everything. And so you took a photo, then you had to scan it, then you had to resize it for the magazine, and then the magazine got to be printed. So the amount of times that image gets kind of degraded, it's incredible we have anything to even see. You got the skis, we got the hunter, the dogs. Pissed your pants when those dogs bust through. Evil 1 now, the PlayStation, the original PlayStation version, none of the remakes or anything or remasters, and see and play it here on stream on Twitch, just using this guide and see how well it works. That might be fun sometime later this summer. Here we go, War Gods. Watch out for War Gods. There's a new fighting game coming soon to arcades, and it looks like the best brawler yet. Well, let's see how wrong they are. War Gods from Midway represents the new high point in the evolution of fighting games. Do you think GamePro magazine was paid for this? Because it's all over their magazine. And how much were they paid? Because they're really loving this. And to be fair, I never played in the arcades, but the N64 game was trash. Its breakthrough gameplay, however, is as simple as 1, 2, 3D. Are they going to take shots at everything? Street Fighter 2 and MK, the precursors. Confronting each other in Street Fighter 2's basic 2D playing field, Ken blocks Ryu's jumping kick. So basic. So old-fashioned. In Mortal Kombat, the innovative block button left gamers free to use the controller to buffer their next move. Oh my god. Don't let Virtual Fighter's gorgeous 3D look fool you. You're not actually fighting in 3D. Oh, I mean, you're in a three-dimensional space. They're talking about the movement, I guess. Sidestepping in Toshinden is sometimes more of a problem than a solution. Now you're going to rip on Toshinden? Okay, so what do you do? The road to War God, blah, 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 blah. The next big jump along the path to 3D. So this is just like talking about the old games, Virtual Fighters, Toshinden. Okay, so what the F makes you true 3D? In War Gods, Midway has knocked down the roadblocks to 3D fighting. They began with a block button, which real 3D fighting games need. Why do they need a block button? Holding the joystick left or right to block works well for 2D fighters, but since this is a 3D environment, fighters are forced to use the joystick to move around several playing fields with multiple camera angles. That sounds like a nightmare. Moreover, a block button eliminates the camera problems that plague Toshinden. Midway created the 3D button. Okay. The 3D button enables gamers to circle around the entire environment. Oh, so you are just wildly running around like an idiot. Thus, you can move anywhere on screen at any given time. That sounds like a nightmare. This unique control system is what makes War Gods the first true 3D fighting game, and a reason probably why games even to this day still use that 2D system, because that sounds like a goddamn nightmare. How does a 3D button work? The 3D button changes the movements triggered. You hold it, and by pushing up on the joystick, the fighter moves deeper into the arena, appearing farther away on the screen. By holding the 3D button, they get closer. I don't know, guys. That sounds like just bad. Pagan versus CY5. That's a memorable name. So much of the problem. A hooligan, Anubis. These aren't memorable like characters. They've got nothing to them. They're just War Gods. How do projectiles work in 3D? Each of the fighters in War Gods has unique special moves and projectile attacks. These moves can be executed blah, 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 in 2D or 3D, but in 3D they have additional power. What? For example, Vala can throw an axe in 2D. The same move we have executed in 3D, she throws two axes out at different angles. The projectiles become much more dangerous and are difficult to evade.
Last Gladiator digital pinball. Why would you buy that? Return Fire Map o' Death. PO'd. What else we got here? Raiden Project Darius on the Saturn. Shinobi. Super Nintendo has Toy Story. Wow. Wow. Pebble Beach Golf, always a golf game. Super Nintendo. Agile Warriors. What is this? Active conflicts. So we've seen like a war game. That's just a pause screen. That's a blow up. That's level. Gas Mask Blues. And that's some blonde lady. One of these things is not like the other. Wow. That's a real bad game. Big ol' ad. Be careful what you say to her. Oh, so we talked about this earlier. This is Experts. This is a girl from that fighting game that just now it's Eternal Champions, which was weird. And this game is terrible. But look at the rendering on this. So this was still on the Genesis, not with any chip or anything. This was with the Silicon graphics, the same thing they used for Donkey Kong Country. And this is a great model. This is a great outfit, great look. I think she's called Shadow or something. Look, there's texturing on this dress. And then you use it for a crappy game like this where you play as a bunch of jagoffs. Let's not forget Shadow's black belt in ninjutsu. She's got a PhD in computer science and 2 other experts fighting alongside. And you just kind of wander around hacking systems, and oh boy, it was so bad. And that's it. We can get through 135 pages. Wow, 135 pages. That's insane. If you want, look at Retro Mag has these up on the Internet Archive, so you can take a look for yourself. If you want us to go through another one, let us know if there's a magazine from a time, an episode, or whatever, a game you remember. We'll try to go back to it. We love doing this. This is fun to do on the live stream to kind of break things up. Spend an hour or so going through these games. If you're watching it on YouTube here, like, comment, and subscribe if you want more of these. These are just kind of fun, relaxing times with some video game mags. So for you on YouTube, we'll catch you guys next time. Have yourself a fun, fantastic day, night, evening, whatever it may be, morning. And for those of us on Twitch, we will jump back into another retro game. So see you guys.